Chapter 5, Section 3, Slope-Intercept Form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope, remember slope is rise over run, and b is the y-intercept. The y-intercept is going to be the point on the y-axis where the line crosses the y-axis. So it's going to be the intersection of the y-axis and the line that this is the equation for. This asks us, what are the slope and y-intercept of the graph y equals 3x plus 6? Well, if you think back to y equals mx plus b, what took the place of m is 3, so the slope would be 3, and what took the place of b is 6, so the y-intercept would be 6. The next example says, what is an equation of the line with a slope of 5 and y-intercept of 8? If the slope is 5, that means for the y equals mx plus b, I need to plug in 5 for the m. And if the y-intercept is 8, I need to plug in the 8 for the b. So the equation would be y equals 5x plus 8. This next example says, which equation represents the line shown? If we look at the line, you can tell that the y-intercept is at -2. Because the y-intercept is at -2, that means I need to be subtracting 2, which means choices B and D are out because they show a y-intercept at +2. So B and D are out. And if you remember finding the slope of the line from yesterday, we need to count rise over run. Rise over run would be up 3 and to the right 1. Well, anytime we have 3 over 1, we can just write that as the whole number 3. So in this case, the answer is A, y equals 3x minus 2. The next example says, what is an equation in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the points 1, -6 and -3, 10? Notice I'm not given the slope or the y-intercept directly, so I can't just plug in for m and plug in for b and go about my business. I need to actually use the formula for finding slope. Remember the y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 over x sub 1. And to do that, and remember there's two valid ways, so you could be doing it just flip-flopping, which comes first on top and on bottom. I chose to find the slope by saying -6 minus 10 over 1 minus -3. Notice -6 and 1 came from the same ordered pair, and 10 and -3 came from the same ordered pair. When I do -6 minus 10, I get -16, and 1 minus -3 is a +4. Well, if you think of this as a division problem, -16 divided by a +4 is just -4. So now I know the slope, but they're asking me to write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line. I'm not given my y-intercept. There is a way that we can find it though. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in -4 for the slope in the equation y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to say y equals -4, because that's what I just found as my slope, x plus b. I still don't know what b is though. Notice the other values are y and x. So do you see, or can you think of a way to find b? In order to find b, I would need numbers to plug in for y and x. Well, if you look, I've actually been given 2 ordered pairs. So you just need to choose one. You're going to use either of the coordinates that are given, so either the coordinate 1, -6, or the coordinate -3, 10, to plug in the x and the y values, and then you can solve for b like it's a one-step equation. It does not matter which ordered pair you choose. For this example, I'm just going to choose the ordered pair 1, -6. I will say, if one of these had a negative value and the other only had positive values, I would probably choose the one with the positive values just because there's less of a chance to make a mistake. Also, if in an ordered pair one of the values is 0, that's going to be nice also because when you multiply something by 0 or add or subtract from 0, that's really easy too. In this case, there's not really one that's better or worse, so I just chose 1, -6. That means in the equation y equals -4x plus b, I'm going to plug in 1 for x and -6 for y. So I'm going to say -6 equals -4 times 1 plus b. Well, -4 times 1 is just -4. To get b by itself, or to solve for b, I need to add 4 to both sides. When you add 4 to both sides, you get -6 plus 4, which is a -2 equals b. Now I have my slope, or my m, which is -4, and I've just solved for my b, which is -2. So now I do have my slope and my y-intercept to plug into the slope-intercept form y equals mx plus b. When I plug it in, it is y equals -4x minus 2. And the next example says, what is an equation in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the points 3, -2 and 1, -3? Just like in the last example, when I'm given 2 points, I am not given the slope and the y-intercept, but I have enough information to find both of those. First, let's start by using the slope formula. I'm going to plug in -2 minus -3, my y values, over 3 minus 1. Notice 3 came from the same ordered pair as -2, and 1 came from the same ordered pair as -3, so I've used the formula correctly. When you have -2 minus a -3, remember that double negative, the minus a -3 goes to plus 3, so you have -2 plus 3, which is 1, over 3 minus 1 is 2. So my slope is 1 over 2, or 1/2. Just like in the last example, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say y equals 1/2 x plus b. Now, notice that this is y equals 1/2 x plus b. Remember, multiplying by 1/2 is the same as dividing by 2. So when I go up to look for ordered pairs to plug in for x and for y, I really want an even number for x if I have one. But if you look at my x values in the ordered pairs, I have 3, -2, so my x value would be 3, an odd number. And then in the other ordered pair, I have 1, -3. In this case, I have 1, which is another odd number. Again, there's not really a better one to choose. You can choose whichever one you want. I'm just going to use the first one, so I'm just going to use 3, -2 to plug in for my x and my y values. I need to plug in 3 for x and -2 for y. When I do that, I have -2 equals 1/2 times 3 plus b. Well, 1/2 times 3 is the same as -2 equals 3/2 plus b. You need to subtract 3/2 from both sides, and when you do that, you get a -7 over 2 equals b. I am going to say that it's okay to leave this as an improper fraction and that you can just leave it as -7 over 2. We should all be able to realize that's actually -3.5, but for the purposes of this assignment, I'm going to allow you to just go ahead and leave it as an improper fraction. So I have my slope, or my m, which is 1/2, and then I have my y-intercept, or b, which is -7 over 2. So I have the two pieces to plug in to my formula, and I can say y equals 1/2 x minus 7/2. The last example says, what is the graph of y equals 1/2 x minus 1? When I'm given an equation in slope-intercept form, I'm always going to start in the coordinate plane on the y-intercept. If you notice, this equation gives me that the slope is 1 over 2, which means my rise would be 1, my run would be 2, or I would need to go up 1 and to the right 2, and my y-intercept is -1. Start in the coordinate plane on the y-axis at -1 and go ahead and put a point there. From that point, from the y-intercept, you're going to count your slope. So I'm going to count my slope and I'm going to go up 1 and to the right 2, and I'm going to put a point. And my general rule is that you need at least 3 points if there is enough room on the graph, because you can connect any 2 points to the line to form a line. But if you're counting the slope right one time and wrong the next time, it won't make a straight line. So my general rule is to try to put at least 3 points on your graph. So again, from the point on the x-axis now, I'm going to go up 1 and to the right 2, and I have another point at 4, 1. Now that I have 3 points, I will draw a line through it. Notice when I draw my line, I have not only connected those 3 points and just left it that segment. Go ahead and extend your line out and make sure that you have arrows on either side indicating that a line will go on and on forever, because that is a line will. You could be counting the slope of up 1 to the right 2, up 1 to the right 2 for infinity, and you would still be on that same line of y equals 1/2 x minus 1. The next example says, what is the graph of y equals negative 3x plus 4? In this case, my slope is negative 3. My y-intercept is a positive 4. Remember, always start on the y-axis at your y-intercept, which is 4, because that's where what number is in place of b, the y-intercept. Now I'm given the slope negative 3. Slope is rise over run, so I need to write negative 3 as a ratio, or negative 3 over something. Remember that you can write any number, any whole number over 1 and turn it into a ratio. So this could be the same as negative 3 over a positive 1, which means I need to go down 3 and to the right 1. And again from that point, because I want 3 points, I'm going to go down 3 and to the right 1. Now that I have 3 points, and you can do more if you want to, go ahead and draw that line through, again going all the way through all of your dots and having arrows at the end of each side. Today's assignment is on page 331, numbers 2 through 38 even.